History usually teaches us about kings, wars, and empires, but history rarely tells us how to feel. Sometimes it's not a book, not a map, not even a battle, but a monument that reveals the human mind most clearly. Today, we are looking at two structures, two towers of stone and metal, two silent witnesses. One stands at the edge of the ocean, facing the horizon, welcoming those who arrive from far away. A torch raised high, quietly saying, "Come." The other rises from the heart of a city. It looks down, it watches, it remembers, and without speaking, it reminds you, "I see you." This is not just the story of the Statue of Liberty and the Galata Tower. This is the story of two ideas that have shaped human history. Humanity has always lived between two forces, the desire to be free and the need to be controlled. We write poems about freedom, but we build cities for control. We fight revolutions in the name of liberty. Yet we raise walls, towers, and fortresses to manage fear. And here is the strange truth. Freedom is often remembered after it is lost, but control is usually built in advance. The Statue of Liberty shines even at night because it was meant to guide, not intimidate. Its light is not a warning, it is an invitation. The Galata Tower feels heavier at night because it casts shadows. It does not guide the way forward, it observes. This difference is not architectural, it is intentional. One was built by people asking, "What could humans become?" The other was built by people asking, "How do we watch them?" And these two questions have defined civilizations for centuries. The Statue of Liberty does not ask your name. It does not question your past. It offers hope before it offers judgment. The Galata Tower, throughout history, knew names. It knew streets. It knew who lived where, who might rebel, and who needed to be watched. One is built on trust, the other on suspicion. So we must pause and ask, if freedom is so valuable, why do we build it as a symbol, but rarely as a system? And if control is so dangerous, why do we criticize it, yet constantly depend on it? History gives us an uncomfortable answer. Humans want freedom, but fear chaos, and fear builds towers. This video will not compare heights or measurements. Which structure is taller is irrelevant. What matters is what they represent. One says, "Arrive, begin again." The other says, "You are seen." And perhaps humanity itself was shaped between these two sentences. So now we ask the real question. Did history give us freedom? Or did it simply invent more sophisticated forms of control? The answer is not in the monument. It is not in the tower. The answer is in us. Every monument begins with a decision, not of stone, but of intention. Before the first block was placed, before the first foundation was dug, someone asked a question, and the question matters more than the structure itself. The purpose of the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty was not built to defend a city. It was not designed to watch anyone. It had no military function, no strategic advantage. Its purpose was symbolic from the beginning. It was meant to be seen from afar, not to intimidate, but to reassure. For millions of people crossing the Atlantic, this statue was not architecture. It was a message. You have arrived. You are allowed to hope. You may begin again. The torch she holds is not a weapon. It does not threaten. It does not command. It guides. The statue does not look down at the city. It looks outward, toward the open sea. This is crucial. Its creators imagined a future shaped not by control, but by possibility. The purpose of the Statue of Liberty was never order. It was promise. The purpose of the Galata Tower. The Galata Tower was built with a very different question in mind. Not, what can people become, but how do we watch them? From its earliest days, the Galata Tower was about visibility. It was built high so nothing below could hide. Ships entering the harbor, fires spreading through the city, movement in the streets, unrest, rebellion. The tower existed to observe, to measure risk, to anticipate danger. It was part of a system that believed safety comes from surveillance, that stability requires oversight, that power must see in order to rule. The Galata Tower does not welcome, it evaluates, it does not invite, it records. Its purpose was never symbolic alone. It was practical, immediate, and political. Two purposes, two worldviews. Here is where the comparison becomes uncomfortable. The Statue of Liberty assumes that humans, when given freedom, will strive forward. The Galata Tower assumes that humans, when left unwatched, may become dangerous. One is built on trust, the other on fear. One imagines the best version of humanity, the other prepares for the worst. And history shows us something disturbing. Civilizations that fear chaos build towers first. Civilizations that dream of freedom build symbols later. Purpose and time. The Statue of Liberty was built for the future. Its meaning depended on people who had not yet arrived. The Galata Tower was built for the present. Its meaning depended on what might go wrong tomorrow. One looks ahead, the other looks down. One assumes movement, the other assumes resistance. And this is why they feel so different even centuries later. The deeper purpose. Neither monument is evil, neither is pure. They represent a truth about humanity. We want freedom, but we are afraid of losing control. So we create both. We build symbols of hope to remind ourselves who we want to be, and we build towers of surveillance to protect ourselves from who we fear we might become. The Statue of Liberty asks nothing of you except that you dare to begin. The Galata Tower asks nothing of you except that you remember you are seen. Between these two purposes, human history unfolds, not as a straight line toward freedom, but as a constant negotiation between trust and fear. Statue of Liberty, a witness to arrivals, not battles. The Statue of Liberty's historical role is unusual because it was never meant to be a fortress, a palace, or a weapon. Its power was psychological and symbolic, yet it influenced real lives more than many castles ever did. 1. A coastal threshold of America. After its dedication in 1886, the statue became the first giant presence many travelers saw as ships approached New York Harbor. It didn't guard the city like a medieval wall. It marked a moment of transition. Old life behind you, unknown life ahead of you. 2. Immigration era icon, Ellis Island years. For immigrants arriving by sea, the statue became a landmark of arrival and hope, especially as the story of welcome became culturally reinforced. For example, through Emma Lazarus's The New Colossus, which helped define the statue's welcome meaning in the public imagination. Even when you remove poetry and legend, the social role stays. It served as a national visual signal that the United States wanted to be seen as a new beginning. 3. A lighthouse. That didn't really work, but still mattered. For a time, the statue was administered by the U.S. Lighthouse Board because the torch was intended as a navigational aid, but it was never a great practical lighthouse. It became far more important as a symbolic beacon than a functional one. This is key for your theme. Sometimes history is shaped not by what a monument does physically, but by what it makes people believe. 4. War era, meaning propaganda, bonds, liberty as a cause. During World War I, the statue's image was widely used to connect the war effort to the idea of protecting liberty. So its role expanded from welcoming newcomers to representing national purpose during crisis. 5. From monument to institution, National Monument to National Park Service. In 1924, it was designated a national monument and later placed under the National Park Service, 1933. That changed its role again. It became not only a symbol, but a carefully managed site of national memory and tourism, an official museum of meaning. So, historically, the Statue of Liberty is less like an ancient tower and more like a national mirror. Different generations look at it and see what they need: arrival, hope, identity, protest, rights, responsibility. Galata Tower, a city's eye through empires. Galata Tower's historical role is the opposite kind of power. It wasn't built primarily to represent an idea. It was built to serve a city. Then it survived long enough to serve many different regimes. 1. A Genoese colonial tower, power through height, 1348. The tower we recognize today was built in 1348 by the Genoese colony in Galata, originally known as Christia Turris, Tower of Christ. Its position and height mattered. In medieval urban life, whoever sees farther often controls earlier. Trade routes, ships, threats, fires, unrest. 2. After 1453, the tower changes masters but not function. After the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople, the tower remained and was repurposed, at times used as a prison and later integrated into Ottoman city management. That alone is a major historical role. It shows how empires conquer but also inherit. 3. Fire watching, Istanbul's survival system, 1717 onward. One of its most important long-term roles was as a fire observation tower. In a city where large sections were historically built with wood, fires were existential threats, able to erase neighborhoods in hours. A tower that spots fire early is not just architecture, it's urban survival infrastructure. 4. Legend as historical afterlife, Hezarfen Ahmed Çelebi. The story that Hezarfen Ahmed Çelebi flew from the tower in 1638, whether fully true or partly myth, became part of the tower's cultural role. It turned the building into a stage for imagination, not just surveillance. That's how monuments gain a second life. History plus legend fuse into identity. 5. Disaster, repair, and reinvention. Fires, storms, restorations. The tower was damaged by fire, lost its conical roof in a storm, 1875, and later underwent major restoration, notably 1965 to 1967, that reshaped its interior and returned its iconic silhouette. In modern times, it has been restored again and reopened as a museum, shifting its role from city tool to heritage experience. So historically, Galata Tower is a city instrument turned symbol. It started as a practical eye of power, then became a memory machine, a viewpoint, a museum, a story. Statue of Liberty versus Galata Tower monuments do not speak, but they communicate. They do not have voices, yet they trigger emotions before we even understand why. This emotional power is not accidental. It is designed, reinforced by history, and absorbed by generations. The emotional world of the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty creates a rare emotional response, relief before belonging. Most monuments demand respect first. This one offers comfort first. When people see the Statue of Liberty, they are usually not standing beneath it. They are approaching it. From a distance, from the water, from uncertainty. That distance matters psychologically. The statue is not towering over you. It is waiting for you. Its posture is open, not aggressive. The torch is raised, not aimed. The face is calm, not commanding. This creates an emotional message even before words exist. You are allowed to be here. For immigrants, this emotion was amplified by exhaustion, fear, and hope. After weeks at sea, the statue didn't promise success. It promised possibility. And possibility is emotionally powerful. The statue does not judge who you were. It does not demand loyalty. It does not ask for obedience. It simply stands as a symbol of arrival without interrogation. That is why people cry when they see it, not because it is beautiful, but because it feels forgiving. Liberty as psychological shelter. Over time, the Statue of Liberty became more than a landmark. It became a psychological shelter. People projected their dreams onto it: freedom, safety, reinvention. Even protests use its image, not because it enforces power, but because it represents a promise that can be broken. That is a critical emotional detail. The Statue of Liberty can disappoint you, and that makes it human. It allows criticism. It allows reinterpretation. It allows emotional dialogue. Few monuments allow that. The emotional world of the Galata Tower. The Galata Tower creates a completely different emotional response. Awareness before comfort. You do not approach the Galata Tower from the outside. You encounter it within the city. It rises suddenly. It interrupts the skyline. It claims vertical dominance. This immediately triggers a psychological reaction. Something is above me. That feeling is ancient. Humans instinctively associate height with power, with authority, with judgment. The Galata Tower does not welcome, it observes. Even when you admire it, you are aware of being seen. Historically, this feeling was not imagined. The tower truly was watching. Fires, ships, crowds, movement. Its role created an emotional memory in the city. Visibility equals vulnerability, control, safety, and subtle fear. But here is the complexity. The Galata Tower does not only create fear, it also creates security. Knowing someone is watching can be comforting in a dangerous city, so the emotion it generates is mixed. Safety, restraint, awareness, obedience. It reminds people that order exists. Unlike the Statue of Liberty, the Galata Tower does not promise change. It promises continuity. You are within the system. You are not invisible. You are part of something that watches. This emotional tone shaped urban life for centuries. Emotional contrast. Invitation versus observation. Here is the core emotional difference. The Statue of Liberty makes you feel invited. The Galata Tower makes you feel noticed. Invitation expands the self. Observation limits it. One says, you may become more. The other says, remember where you are. Neither emotion is accidental. Neither is purely positive or negative. Freedom without limits can collapse. Control without trust can suffocate. Why these emotions last? What makes these emotions powerful is that they survive context. Even modern tourists feel them. People still photograph the Statue of Liberty with emotional captions. People still describe the Galata Tower as imposing, watchful, heavy. That means the monuments succeeded not architecturally, but psychologically. They trained us how to feel. Final emotional truth. The Statue of Liberty appeals to our hopeful self, the version of us that believes tomorrow can be different. The Galata Tower appeals to our cautious self, the version of us that knows power watches back, and history is shaped not by choosing one emotion, but by constantly moving between them, between hope and fear, between freedom and order, between light and shadow. If history makes you think, if these silent monuments made you feel something, like the video, and if you want more stories about freedom, control, and the ideas that shaped humanity, subscribe to the channel, because history doesn't just live in books, it lives in what we choose to remember.